You think you're the one choosing your partners. You're not. Your 7-year-old self is. That version of you, the one who learned what love felt like by watching how the people around him showed up or didn't show up, that child is still in the driver's seat of your romantic life. And until you see the script he's been running, you will keep choosing the same kind of person, keep ending up in the same kind of pain, and keep wondering why nothing ever seems to work. Today, we are exposing that script. This is why your childhood is ruining your love life, and exactly how to stop it. The invisible blueprint. Let's start with something most men don't want to admit. The reason your dating life feels exhausting right now is not the apps. It's not the women. It's not bad timing or bad luck. It's a blueprint. An invisible blueprint that was installed inside you before you were old enough to understand what was happening. Psychologists call it your attachment style. But forget the academic language for a second. Think of it like this. When you were a child, your brain was constantly asking one question: is this safe? Can I trust the people around me to show up when I need them? If your caregivers were consistent, warm, reliably there, your brain registered, love is safe. I can be close to people without losing myself. But if the people around you were inconsistent, sometimes loving, sometimes cold, sometimes there, sometimes gone, your brain made a different calculation. It said, love is unpredictable. I need to either fight to keep people close or stop caring so I don't get hurt. That calculation you made as a child? It didn't stay in childhood. It followed you into every text you've sent at 2 a.m., into every relationship that started hot and ended cold, into every time you felt suffocated by someone who actually loved you. That's the invisible blueprint. And right now, it's running your love life. The push-pull dynamic. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Imagine two people. We'll call them Marcus and Sade. Marcus grew up with a mother who was sometimes affectionate, sometimes completely checked out. He never knew which version he'd get, so he became hyper-aware of emotional distance. The moment he feels someone pulling away, panic sets in. He texts more, tries harder, needs constant reassurance that he's not being abandoned. Sade had a different experience. Her home felt suffocating. Emotional closeness always came with control, so she learned to protect her independence at all costs. The moment someone gets too close, she needs space. She pulls back. She goes quiet. Now watch what happens when Marcus and Sade start dating. The more Marcus leans in, the more Sade retreats. The more Sade retreats, the more Marcus panics and chases. The more he chases, the more suffocated she feels. So she pulls back harder. This is what researchers call the anxious-avoidant trap. And it's not a coincidence that anxious and avoidant people are magnetically drawn to each other. The anxious person mistakes the avoidant's emotional distance for mystery and depth. The avoidant mistakes the anxious person's intensity for passion. But underneath all of it, both of them are just two wounded people triggering each other's deepest fears. And here's the brutal part. The relationship feels like chemistry. It feels electric. But it's not chemistry. It's trauma recognizing trauma. Which type are you? Before we go further, I want you to stop for a second and ask yourself honestly, which of these sounds like you? The anxious attachment pattern. You overanalyze text responses. A 3-hour gap in replies sends your mind to the worst possible place. You love hard and fast, sometimes too fast, and then feel devastated when the other person doesn't match your intensity. You need frequent reassurance. Silence feels like rejection. And your biggest fear is being abandoned. The avoidant attachment pattern. You value your independence above almost everything. Whenever a relationship starts feeling serious, something in you looks for the exit. You go cold, you get busy, You convince yourself you don't actually need closeness. You want connection. But the moment it arrives, it feels like a threat. The disorganized pattern. This one is the most painful. You desperately want closeness, but you're also terrified of it. So you do both. You pull people in, then push them away. You self-sabotage at the exact moment things start going well. Your relationships feel chaotic because inside, you're at war with yourself. Drop in the comments which one hit closest to home. Because naming it is the first step to breaking it. Why you are addicted to the chase. Now here's where it gets neuroscience. And this part is important because it explains why knowing about your attachment style doesn't automatically fix it. Your brain has a reward system driven by a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine doesn't fire when you get something. It fires when you're about to get something. The anticipation, the chase, the almost. When a partner is consistent and available, your dopamine system barely reacts. Stable feels boring to a nervous system that was wired for chaos. But when a partner is inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes texting back in seconds, sometimes disappearing for days, your brain goes into overdrive. Because it can't predict the reward. And unpredictable rewards are the most addictive kind. This is called intermittent reinforcement. And it's the same psychological mechanism behind slot machines. Think about the last person you were obsessed with. Were they actually the best person you'd ever met? Or were they just the most unpredictable? That obsession you felt, that was your brain chasing a dopamine hit it could never quite catch. And here's the uncomfortable truth for a lot of men. Some of you have developed what I'd call a savior complex on top of this. You're not just chasing emotionally unavailable people. You're trying to fix them. Because if you can heal them, if you can be the one who finally gets through, that feels like it would prove something about your own worth. But you cannot fix someone else's attachment wounds while yours are still bleeding. That's not love. That's avoidance dressed as devotion. Rewiring your patterns. So what do you actually do with all of this? I'm not going to give you a vague work on your self-speech. Here are 3 specific things that shift the pattern. Step 1. Name the activation. The moment you feel that familiar emotional charge, the anxiety when someone doesn't reply, the urge to disappear when someone gets too close. Stop. Don't react. Ask yourself, is this about now, or is this an old wound firing? Most of the time, it's the old wound. And when you can name it in the moment, you create a split second of choice. That split second is everything. Step 2. Regulate before you respond. When your nervous system is activated, you will make the same insecure choices you always make. So before you send that text, before you shut down, before you blow up, regulate first. 5 slow breaths, a walk around the block, 10 minutes before you act on the feeling. This is not weakness. This is how secure people operate. Step 3. Audit who you're dating. Look honestly at your current or past relationships. Ask yourself, does this person make me feel more anxious or more at peace? Am I drawn to them because of genuine respect and compatibility, or because something about them activates my pattern? If the attraction disappears when the person becomes consistently available, that is a sign. Not that they're wrong for you, but that security feels foreign to your nervous system. That's the thing to work on. Because here's what changes everything. Secure attachment is not a personality type you're born with. It is a skill, and skills can be learned. Closing. The goal is not to become someone who never feels anxious or never needs space. The goal is to stop letting those old patterns make decisions for you. Your 7-year-old self did the best he could with what he had. He found ways to survive environments that felt unsafe. You don't need to shame him for that. But you are not 7 anymore. You get to decide what kind of man you become, what kind of love you build, what kind of presence you bring into a relationship. And that decision starts with seeing the script, clearly, honestly, without flinching. If this hit something real for you, drop your attachment type in the comments. Anxious, avoidant, disorganized, or if you think you're secure, tell me what that looks like for you. I rate every one. Like this video if it gave you language for something you've been feeling. And subscribe because next week we are going even deeper. See you then.